Hey, well, welcome everyone. For this session, what are we going to be doing? Well, we're going to be creating the equation of a line that is parallel or perpendicular to another one. So what do we got to do? Well, a couple of things. The window on the left there, it shows if you are asked to get the slope point form of the equation, then you need a couple of things. One of them is the slope, and the other one is any point that is on this line. And for our purposes, they'll probably give that to you. Say, create a line that goes through this particular point. The second situation is if you need to find the slope intercept form of an equation. It's still a line, just a different style. Well, what do you need for this? You need the slope. You need the slope and the y-intercept. Now, one thing that's important to notice for both is that you always need the slope. So that's going to be the first thing to watch for. Now, to get the slope, it kind of depends on the question. But what you might be able to do is just simply read it, get it from the given equation. With an n there at the end. So if you have y is equal to 3x plus 6, you can read this equation and say, okay, this slope here is 3, and we can use that then to get the answer to our question. The other thing that might happen is they might give a couple of points instead. They might say going through these points. Well, what do you do then? To get the slope, you just use the equation for the slope. You work it out, and then you use this result. Then you use this result in the equation that we're creating. Okay, you either use it directly if they're parallel or switch it up if it's perpendicular. Now, I wrote this as a chain just because of the real estate of paper I have here, but not really a good idea. What's better is to write it formula like this and then work vertically instead. Because otherwise, once you start doing these and canceling things out, you'll end up getting a weird sort of chain that says m is equal to this is equal to 5 is equal to 7, just because of things canceling out. Not in this particular question, but possibly in the future. And you'll know what you're doing. You'll know what you mean, but it just won't be written correctly. Okay, so it's better to work vertically, as your paper, as your real estate probably has. All right, so we're going to need the slope for whatever form we get. So you either read it from the line itself, or rather, from the equation that's given, or you get it from points that are given. Now, about the slopes, just as a reminder, if we are creating a line that's parallel, that means the slope is the same. And if we're creating a line that's perpendicular, and I'm going to leave you to spell it out. My excuse is real estate here, the paper, but we all know it's a very long word. Perpendicular. Slopes aren't the same. What happens is two parts to this. The first part is that the sign is the opposite. Okay, the signs we work with, the signs we get is opposite of what we start with. And second of all, it's upside down. Okay, so these two parts have to happen. Two parts have to happen to get a perpendicular slope. So I'll give you an example. Often that's way more valuable than all the words. Okay, so if we have y is equal to 2 over 3x plus 7, we can read it. That is, read the equation and see that the slope is 2 over 3, the number in front of the x. If we want parallel, if we want to create a line that's parallel to this one, which incidentally means in the same direction, going like that, same direction, then the slopes are the same. And so we just get m is equal to 2 over 3. Nothing fancy. We just copy it down, and then we'll reuse it when we make our next equation. If we're going for a perpendicular, then remember, two parts to this. Okay, it's opposite sign, so that means we're going to need a negative, and this has to be upside down as well. So not 2 over 3 anymore. Now it's 3 divided by 2. This slope now will create a line that is perpendicular to this one, because of the way the slope has been created. All right, so let's do a few examples. Because I want you to be good at this. This is a good topic to be good at. So let's pretend this. Let us suppose that we need a parallel line through the point through, it's running out there, through the point 6, 7, parallel line through 6, 7, parallel to y equals 4x plus 3. So, this is the way the cool kids do it. Number one, regardless of what style of answer we need, we're going to have to find the slope. And by style of answer, I mean, as it shows on the left window there, slope point or slope intercept. Right? 'Cause I haven't even said yet. We're just going to find an equation. See, so what slope do we need if the lines are parallel? We need it to be the same. Same as this, so the slope is going to be 4. That's what we're going to use. Now, the best thing is to get slope. Actually, no, it's no best thing. This is the slope point's probably the easiest one to find. What you do, you always start with a formula. And for slope point, that looks like this. And so what you need to do to satisfactorily get this answer is you need to get a number for y1, for the m, and for x1. Okay, so for y1, that is going to be the y-coordinate of the point that, from a point on this line that we have, which is this one right here. So the y-coordinate's 7. The slope we just worked on, that's 4. And then it goes x minus the x-coordinate of the same point there, which is 6. And so, what is nice and amazing about this is that this is finished. Okay, it looks like long and incomplete, but in fact, this satisfies our requirement. This is the slope point form of a line. Now, what might happen is that you might have to create the other form, the slope intercept form. So how does that work? Well, watch. Because we have the slope point already, and that's important, we have this already. All you do is just, well, I guess every math question is simplify, but all you do is multiply this through, distribute it, it's a professional word, and then solve for y. That is so that it looks like y equals mx plus b. So I'll move that up there, but not off the page. And I'll show you how that looks. Maybe you can get it started while I'm getting sorted over here. All right, the third step. You try and finish before me there. Slope intercept. That's going to look like y equals mx plus b. So we got to check to make sure our final answer has this style. All right, well, here we go. I'm going to multiply the 4 through. Usually one thing in one line, so that when you go back to check your work, you know how many things to look for in each line. If you do too many, it's a bit unorganized. You go back, you don't know how many things to look for. Okay, so the one thing I did is just multiplied this through. Next, I'm going to move the 7 over. How? By adding 7 to both sides. Why? So that disappears over there. Adds up, equals 0, gone. And then we have this situation where you get 4x. And then 24, that's a 17, but it's negative, so it looks like negative 17 to me. Okay. Now, of course, we can see y is equal to mx plus b. Pluses and minuses, they count as the same. So this is our answer now for the slope intercept form of the line that we needed in the very beginning. The line that we needed was parallel to this and through that point. Mission accomplished. So if you need to, stop and rewind the video and take a look again, and then try and complete this on your own, comparing your work with the work that you see here. In the meantime, I'm going to go on to another question. Another example for you. Let's say we have this to solve, this requirement. This will be perpendicular. Find the equation of the line. I didn't write equation of a line, but just because of real estate, make that understood, okay? Equation of a line, and that is perpendicular to y equals 2 over 3x plus 7, and through the point 2, 1. Now, there's nothing stopping you from stopping the video and trying this on your own. If you remember the trick, remember the fact about perpendicular slopes. Okay, but if you don't, I'm going to show you right now. Because remember, regardless of the style we're going for, that is, regardless of the form of the linear equation, we always need the slope. So, the original is 2 over 3, and I write it down like that. Now, because it's perpendicular, has that special requirement. No, two special requirements. Opposite sign, upside down. This one's positive. This slope is positive, so that means our slope has to be negative. The upside down part, of course, 3 on the top, 2 on the bottom. Now we're ready to continue on to either the slope point or slope intercept. Okay, well, what we're going to do just for fun, okay, I'm going to find the slope intercept first this time. The only reason is that there's, a different way to find it than the earlier question. It could be more direct. You can find it like this. Okay, the slope intercept. That style is y equals mx plus b. We can put in the slope that we have. And what we're going to have to do is solve for b next. Well, in order to do that, we need to have something to put in for x and y. And what is that thing? That is the point that we were given. See, what we can do is we can put this in for x and y, not x1, y1 in this situation. Put that in for x and y, and then the only letter left is b. So you work on it. Solve for b, then it's done. Put it all together at the end. Okay, so I'm not going to be a hooligan and try and jam it all in at the bottom. And do it properly with some professionalism and style so that hopefully it looks good for you. Alright, so what's going in for y? It's off my page, but hopefully on yours. What goes in for y is the 1. Remember, working vertically. Minus 3 over 2 stays. X is 2 from the point we were given. B is the only letter that remains. The algebra. Those 2's cancel out. Left with minus 3. B like that. You solve it. B is equal to 4. Fantastic. Because now we can fill in this missing piece, that missing value, and that gives us the slope-intercept form in a different way, with a different method, as I said, a little more direct, but nonetheless, still correct. Okay, so stop and be amazed by that. It's kind of nice. You can solve it directly. Get the slope as usual. Slope is needed. Sub in the point that we were given. Yeah, do some algebra. Just to be complete, I will show you the other version, the slope point. But I think by the time I have the starting equation written down, you can actually be finished. Because remember, all you do is sub in values with this one. And you don't expand or multiply anything. The slope was minus 3 over 2. The point was 2, 1. So, 2 for x1, 1 for y. Finished. Slope point form, done. So hopefully that's enough to get you started. I guess one thing to remember is that the slope may not be given, the original slope may not be given in an equation. The original slope, they might say, they might give you 2 points instead, right? So don't forget, work vertically. Okay, find the slope, and then proceed as mentioned. All right. I hope you found that of interest and helpful. Thank you for stopping by. please come back so that we can do this again another time soon. Take care.